Hello everyone, I'm Paul McGuire Grimes. If you missed Jeff Nichols' new film, The Bikeriders, in theaters, it's now streaming on Peacock and available to own on 4K, Blu-ray, DVD, and digital, and I want to talk about it. This is Paul's trip to the movies. Indie filmmaker Jeff Nichols has been one to watch after strong films like Take Shelter, Midnight Special, Mud, and Loving. His latest film, The Bikeriders, is inspired by the true story of the Chicago chapter of the biker gang, the Vandals, as detailed through the photography book of the same name by Danny Lyon. Danny is played in the film by Mike Feist, who we see interviewing various people associated with the Vandals. Now, Jeff Nichols uses Danny as more of the kind of framing aspect, while we really see the story through the lens of Kathy, who's played by Jodie Comer. Kathy recounts how she met her husband, Benny, who's played by Butler, at a biker bar that was full of your usual suspects and bad behavior. Benny took an instant liking to Kathy, going so far as to waiting outside her house for her. Now, Kathy's live-in boyfriend fled, and Kathy and Benny were wed 5 weeks later. Kathy is a real spitfire, not afraid of these guys, and not afraid to tell her side of the story. Tom Hardy stars as Johnny, the head biker of this gang, who was inspired by Marlon Brando's character in The Wild One to reform the Vandals. And soon, other biker gangs got wind of the Vandals and their reputation and wanted in. The life that followed for Benny and Kathy led to violence, crime, and ultimatums for what it meant for their family and marriage. The Bikeriders is a fascinating film with how Jeff Nichols doesn't make this a film that you think it will be, and yet the very stereotypical images of bikers and their puffed up chests and egos are on full display. Jeff Nichols, I think, using Kathy as the film's voice is wise, as she is a bigger personality than any of the other bikers. Jodie Comer gives a compelling portrayal in how she brings out the really unique eccentricities of Kathy, adapting this kind of thick Chicago accent that's far away from her normal British accent. She's not afraid to step in and make her opinions known to Benny or the men that he surrounds himself with. Jeff Nichols sets this in between the years of 1965 and 1973, and he and his production team are really great at keeping this look and feel authentic to the period without it making it look like kind of polished up replications. Nichols shies away from making this about one biker gang versus another, but rather a character study of why someone wants to join. There isn't, I would say, a strong central conflict between two different people, but rather one of a sense of identity. That notion of feeling, of wanting to belong, to fit in, that sense of power. Being in a biker gang gives that kind of outward appearance of being tough and cool. The downfall of that comes with the tendency toward violence and murder. As Benny, Butler gives another terrific performance, this time I think really allowing his natural talents to shine through without the use of prosthetics or a heavy hair and makeup design like we saw in Elvis or Dune Part 2. He keeps Benny calm, cool, and collected with this kind of subtle swagger, and we see him really kind of stuck between loving the image that he exudes, but gets kind of conflicted over who has more power in his life, Johnny or his wife Kathy. Tom Hardy is no stranger to playing a tough guy like Johnny. He's essentially playing that mob boss here who you don't want to mess with, and we see how younger bikers don't understand that hierarchy at play. Jeff Nichols has crafted a really interesting character profile based on photos from the period that we see during the closing credits. He gets rich performances out of his actors that really bring these photos to life. It may not have a fully cohesive through line, but it really offers up that glimpse into a time and an identity that seems to have kind of disappeared over time. I'm giving the Bikeriders 3 out of 5 ticket stubs. If you like my review today, click subscribe on my YouTube channel. I have some movie reviews, some celebrity interviews, and I want to let you know what to expect out of the 4K and Blu-ray here of The Bikeriders. There's a bunch of different behind-the-scenes featurettes, including one on Jenny, Benny, and Kathy. about how those three kind of characters were shaped, the era of the Bikeriders, about how his production team really made it fit the era, that time period, and the filmmaker's eye, a look at what Jeff Nichols brought to this film, and of course he provides a commentary throughout the film as well. So go pick up the Bikeriders today on 4K, Blu-ray, digital. Let me know your thoughts on this movie. Go to my YouTube channel, Paul's Trip to the Movies. Click subscribe, leave me a comment, or leave me a comment on social media at Paul's Movie Trip. Did you love the Bikeriders? Are you a fan of Jeff Nichols? Let me know your thoughts, and then go to my website, paulstriptothemovies.com, for even more reviews. Thank you so much for watching my review of the Bikeriders. This is Paul's Trip to the Movies.